Will the Dignity Act of 2025 finally pass and allow undocumented immigrants to live and work legally in the United States? This bill is also put in place to tackle visa backlogs should it be passed. So, will it pass? That's the big question. I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I provide information and updates that empower immigrants through their immigration journey, and I'm going to break down exactly what's in the Dignity Act, where the bill stands right now in Congress, what the chances are that it passes, and what legal options exist that people should be looking at today without necessarily waiting for Congress. So let's start with what the bill actually is. On July 15, 2025, Representative Maria Elvira Salazar, a Republican from Florida, introduced the Dignity Act of 2025 in the House of Representatives. She partnered with Democrat Veronica Escobar from Texas, which makes this a bipartisan bill. It also has 21 co-sponsors as of today, including Republicans and Democrats. And that tells us there's a real effort here to cross party lines and get this bill moving forward. Now, the official name for this is the Dignity for Immigrants While Guarding Our Nation to Ignite and Deliver the American Dream. I know it's a handful, but you can say the Dignidad Act in short. It's a revised version of the Dignity Act from 2023, but this time it comes at a time when the polls are showing that 8 out of 10 Americans think immigration is good for the country and that undocumented immigrants should have a way to earn legal status if they meet certain requirements. The bill itself has 3 main parts. 1, border security for America. So that section covers border barriers, asylum reform, and E-Verify. For those of you who don't know, E-Verify is a federal system put in place to verify that workers have authorization to work in the United States. The second part is the Dignity and American Promise, and that includes a path for dreamers, and it creates something called the Dignity Program for undocumented immigrants. Now, the Dignity Program will allow undocumented immigrants the opportunity to have their legal status and also have the ability to work here through a work permit. Now, the third is American Prosperity and Competitiveness, and this updates immigration rules for families, workers, and students and reduces the backlog. Now, let's get into the details because this is where people's lives could be directly affected. On the border security side, the bill authorizes billions of dollars for physical barriers, technology, and new ports of entry. It also requires faster asylum decisions. Most decisions would be made in 60 days by setting up humanitarian campuses at the border. That would prevent the enormous backlog we have now. These campuses would have medical staff, social workers, child advocates, and asylum officers, but that also keep people in custody until their claims were decided. Though the proposal here suggests more humane conditions, there are still questions about due process and keeping immigrants detained while waiting for their asylum to be processed. This has always been a big problem in the immigration system. So let's see how this proposal changes over time as it makes its way through the consideration process. Now, the bill also proposes an E-Verify system that would be mandatory nationwide so that employers have to confirm that new hires are authorized to work. That part would roll out in phases, and it also would depend on the size of the employer. On the Dignity and American Promise side, the bill includes protections for dreamers, those who came to the U.S. as children. Now, they could get a conditional permanent resident status that would allow them to work, live, and travel legally. And eventually, if they meet those requirements, like higher education requirements or military service, or they have steady, consistent employment, they could then get a green card. Then there's a Dignity Program side. And with this, it's a 7-year program for undocumented immigrants who have been here since December 31st, 2020. To qualify, you need to pass a background check, pay all taxes owed, pay a $7,000 restitution fee over 7 years, and maintain employment or be in school for most of the time. In return, that immigrant would get legal work and travel authorization, as well as protection from deportation. After completing the program, you could then keep renewing the dignity status every 7 years. It's important to note, though, that it does not directly lead to citizenship or residence. It gives legal status to live and work here, but without a green card or citizenship at the end of the line. Now, finally, under the American Prosperity and Competitiveness, the bill tackles things like clearing visa backlogs, raising country visa caps from 7% to 15%, protecting documented dreamers who age out when their parents are on visas here, and making F1 students have dual intent. In case of those visas, students don't have to prove that they are going to be here temporarily or they would go back home. It also wouldn't count spouses or children in the visa numbers or the visa caps, so there would be more visas available. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Where does the bill actually stand today? Will it pass? As of today, the Dignity Act has been introduced in the House. It's sitting with the Judiciary Committee and 6 other committees. It hasn't had a floor vote yet, and that means it's still in the very early stages of the legislative process. So right now, this bill is on paper, it has bipartisan support, and it has some momentum, but it still has a far way to go before becoming law. Now, for it to move forward, there needs to be hearings, committee votes, and eventually a House floor vote. Then Senate has to vote on it as well. So yes, it is a bill that we should take seriously, but it's not law yet. And depending on how the climate evolves or de-escalate, it may never become law. Now, the key here is to build momentum. So what are the chances for it to pass? On the plus side, it has bipartisan support. It has co-sponsors on both sides, and the bill also addresses the balance in immigration enforcement while also addressing the human interests involved here, like the families and employers that need workers to continue to work. So this can help the bill to move forward. But here's the challenge. Immigration reform has been tried many times, and comprehensive bills like this are really tough to push through. If it moves, it will probably be tied to a larger security or budget negotiations just because of the politics involved right now. And that's usually how immigration gets bundled into something that leadership really needs to pass. So the bottom line is, it's possible. How will it get done? We'll have to see how that plays out. But here's the thing I always tell my clients. Don't wait on Congress to decide to make a move, because sometimes your safety is going to depend on your action. Because while politicians are debating, there are existing legal options that may already fit your situation. And if you qualify, the sooner you apply, the better. So some of these are like the VAWA self-petitions for spouses, children, or parents of U.S. citizens or green card holders who mistreated them. U visas for victims of certain crime. T visas for those who have been mistreated by employers or forced to work by employers or individuals. Asylum. If you have a fear of going back to your country, you need to look at this option. Family-based petitions and waivers. Now, with Section 245I, it's a provision that says if you have a petition or labor certification filed for you, or you are derivative on a petition, and that was filed before April 30th, 2001, you could probably still apply for your papers here, even if you're out of status. There are other types of options too, that like the SIJS for minors who can't be with their parents. Each of these has certain requirements that help immigrants fix their papers. These options are real and they're available right now. And often timing does matter. Waiting could mean aging out, losing evidence, missing a deadline, or losing eligibility. So, will the Dignity Act of 2025 pass? It has a chance, but it's still only at the starting line. Yes, it's bipartisan. Yes, it has support. But the reality is that until it moves through the committees and gets a Senate companion, it's just a proposal. It will take time to gain support to pass, and hopefully we see momentum build. As you can see, In this climate, it will take some work, but it has the right people and industries behind it. What you can do today is focus on the relief that's already available, because those options can give you protection, work authorization, and peace of mind, while we leave the politicians to keep debating about this. If Congress does move forward with the Dignity Act, I'll be here to break it down for you in plain language so you can understand exactly how it could affect you. If you want to evaluate your options now, click on the link in the description of this video to start, or call 561-405-4889. Don't wait. Your future depends on your actions now. So your future too is important. This is what you should not leave in limbo. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit the like, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss updates on immigration news and real solutions.